My name is Nancy Roberts, and I'm an economics professor at Arizona State University. Today's discussion is a continuation of production. We've already talked about total product and marginal product. Today I want to talk about average product. And average productivity, again, is a per unit concept. And what it looks at, depending on the size of my variable inputs, on average, how much is each of those variable inputs producing? So, for example, if I have 200 acres, again, this is my fixed factor of production, and I put one worker on it, I'm going to get 5 bales of cotton. So if we're asking what is the average productivity of a workforce of size 1, then what we're saying is we've got 5 bales divided by 1 worker, so on average each of those workers is producing 5 bales. If I use 2 workers, I'm going to get 15 bales on my 200 acres. And if I want to know the average productivity of each of my variable inputs, then I've got 15 bales and 2 workers, so on average each of my workers is producing 7.5 bales. If I use 3 workers, I get 30 bales on my 200 acres, and so each of my 3 workers on average is producing 10 bales. So when we talk about, when you hear this on TV or read it in the newspaper, when it talks about average productivity of a workforce, this is what it's talking about. What's the total output of this workforce? And then on average, how much is each of those inputs producing? Okay, if I have 4 workers, I have 50 bales, and that is 12.5 bales for each of my 4 workers. 5 workers, 68 bales. It's 13.6 bales for each of these workers. If I have 6 bales, if I have 6 workers, I get 78 bales. That is 13 bales per each worker. What you will notice is the average productivity of my workforce is increasing, 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 and then it starts to decrease. Again, that's not a bad thing. Don't attach negative connotations to that. 7 workers, 80 bales is 7 workers, 80 bales is 11.4 bales per worker. 8 workers is 9.8. 9 workers is 7.8. And 10 workers is 6 bales per worker. So here we have our average productivity schedule, which tells us on average how much each of these individuals is producing. And something your intuition should be saying to you is, well, we probably have to pay these guys. And if I have to pay these guys, if I can get 7.5 bales when I hire 2 workers, why would I hire 10 workers when on average I only get 6 bales from each of them? So right away, if you start thinking about the profit motive, it's going to be instructive about where a producer might desire to produce. However, there's something we have to be very careful about here, and that is production theory alone. This is called production theory. Production theory alone does not tell us the optimal output level for a producer. Because what did we say a couple of videos ago? We said a producer's interested in profits. That's what he's interested in, profits. What do we need to see profits? We need to compare revenues with costs. You don't have a clue about costs here. Furthermore, not only do you not have a clue about cost, you don't know if consumers like cotton. What are they willing to pay? You have no revenue information, you have no cost information. Production theory alone is not going to tell you the producer's supply decisions. So we have to, again, see some costs and revenues before we can answer this. But this is very instructive, and in fact what we can do is narrow down the region of production using production theory. Okay, now what I want to do is just a quick graphical representation of average product. We've drawn total product, we've drawn marginal product. Let's draw average product. And again, I'm going to put it on this same chart where I drew marginal product because it is a per unit concept. And if I have a workforce of size 1, on average, each of those 1 workers produces 5 bales. If I have a workforce of size 2, on average, each produces 7.5 bales. A workforce of size 3 is 10, and so on. And if we graph this, we end up with something that looks like this. Average product increases, increases, increases through the 5th worker, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then it begins to decrease. So somewhere between 5 and 6, it turns around and goes back down. Now, in the next video, I'm going to explain the relationships between all these variables because they're very important. So we'll finish up here today.